Good day, or evening really, my ladies and gents, and all of them, their friends. It has been a while. Right now we're about to have some tea time with me time. There are so many reasons, so many reasons that we did not maximize our efforts on YouTube and film our infertility journey for the past 4 years. But the biggest reason being I didn't want to. I didn't want to because infertility is hard. But there's way more that goes into that. Again, this is why we have tea. This is why we drink tea. This is why we sit down and have chats with friends on the internet. I'm going to talk about some real stuff and where to start. So back in 2021, we had filmed our last video. We were sharing getting our apartment ready for our now son. And that was 2 years of struggling to get pregnant with him as well. The day that we had filmed, I had a placental abruption and I started to basically massively bleed while I was 20 weeks pregnant. In editing that video that we had filmed, a year and a half, almost 2 years, 2 years after Corin had been born, we hadn't realized how much of an emotional toll that experience had taken on us. We were hospitalized a couple times. I was told to prepare myself to lose my son. It was a lot. And looking back on that last video, as we were trying to prepare ourselves to share more, we also started to realize that this is like not where we wanted to go with the channel as far as like how we wanted to live our lives. Chronic illness is hard enough, but when you like mix in infertility with that, how do I put this? When we left Colorado Springs and moved to Arkansas, we continued that infertility journey, like trying to get pregnant. I'm a veteran, so we have veteran medical care, and at the time we had moved here, we were happy. We were saving like $1,000 a month on our living expenses, which was like the first breathing room we had had. And then because of the expense of leaving Colorado Springs and getting here, my husband, like, we were between a rock and a hard place, and he had to go back to work. So that was kind of like the number one nail in the coffin, like the first nail that went into the coffin as far as us continuing with the vlog, is my husband had no other choice but to go back to work. He had to find a way to go back to work, because even with saving the $1,000 a month that we were in at the time, our goal was to purchase a home. We're on a fixed income. The fixed incomes are not enough to do anything extra. Like if we had any emergencies or anything like that, it's just, it doesn't work out that way. So he is a ASC certified master mechanic. He's the editor. He can put it right here what exactly he does. But was that for 26 years, and he figured out a way under my, like, you need to figure out a way, kind of get this done, kind of like, this is what we need. I need you to do it. I need you to figure it out. He did. He found a way to take all of that experience, and basically he became work from home, like, especially because this is a COVID time frame, he was able to find work from home as a mechanic, being an auditor. So like people would call in for their warranties and he would audit, because they would tell him what's going on, and because he's a mechanic, he would actually be able to figure out what was covered. So that was a huge win for us, because it went from being like this fixed and stuck income to all of a sudden we were a 2-income household again, and we had already figured out a way to save money, and life improved so much, to the point where it was, or even our son started going to preschool, and like my husband's doing his thing, and even though I would open up the camera to talk to it, that's pretty much like my contribution to everything. Because if you can hear me, I even have a hard time just talking to the camera. I have been working all day just to get this 1 hour, just this one little hour to myself. And by working all day, like getting myself to a point where I am rested enough and I have, done my little setup thing here. And as you can see, I have a hard time staying focused. Like, I can't like read script or anything, but I have to like constantly have, like, we figured out to have mental notes of like what I want to say, because I get lost so much. It's a chronic fatigue thing. VA says it's also a PTSD thing. Whatever, it's what happens. It's like, it's whatever is causing it, it is what is happening. So anyway, my husband was working at the time. I have a hard time keeping up with anything. And my editor and the person who does all the things was busy being a full-time dad, a full-time caregiver, and working full-time. So it really came down to time. And then, like I said, I have a hard time staying focused. And at this point, we're, leaving 2021 and entering 2022, and I'm still not pregnant. We have a few videos, I think on the channel where, I'm like basically running out the door to do something, and I need to take a pregnancy test because we're trying to conceive all the way back from 2020. And by 2022, we're still not pregnant. And I'm still filming, and what I'm starting to realize is that it's kind of the same thing day in, day out for me, which is, I'm doing this and I'm doing that and whatnot to get pregnant, and I'm not getting pregnant, and I'm watching other YouTubers, and so I know that this is really well watched like content, but I didn't want to talk about infertility for forever. I noticed that the people who were making infertility content, it kept them motivated, it kept them going, where for me, in trying to film my struggles with infertility and their medical appointments and this constant big fat negatives, it was not going well for me. I was not doing well, and like between that and not being able to sit up for long periods of time to do something like editing, I felt kind of lost. Like, we're here, we're really loving our lives, but again, I'm experiencing infertility. We're going to the VA. I'm being put on different medications, being told that if we want to, pursue in vitro, we'd have to drive 2 hours to Tulsa, or we'd have to drive 3 hours to Little Rock. And more likely than not, it'd be to Little Rock, because the way the VA works, and we're in this state, I'd have to go to the Little Rock location. My husband's working from home. He has set time frames. And so we're starting to feel like this whole journey was slipping away from us. And I started getting like this imposter syndrome of, there are all these channels that they're going through their journey of infertility. They're feeling empowered by it, like in sharing. Not that they're feeling empowered by infertility, but they're feel empowered by sharing that journey. And I was not. And I realized that I could have shared my side of it, but with what I want to do online and what I feel like is my path, it's just something I didn't want to do. I didn't want to, because it was harming me, like emotionally, physically, mentally. It was harming me. So I ultimately, on my own, made a decision to put down the camera and just kind of concentrate on getting pregnant. We're being told that we're going to have to go, 3 hours away daily for like weeks on end to try and do this in vitro, and realizing that wasn't going to happen for us. Like, if that's where it got to, when the VA is like, we can't, there's like nothing more we can do, that we weren't going to have a baby. We even looked into adoption, which again, being chronically ill and disabled, Basically, we're told in our particular situation, it would be very, very, very difficult to adopt. So by the time we're hitting 2022 and even midway through 2022, I'm on infertility meds. We're tracking my cycles. I've put down the camera. I'm watching other people do this, and again, my brain pops up as like, should I be filming this? Should I be sharing this? And then the imposter syndrome kicks in really hard as I watch other people, basically struggle with this. And I'm like, I'm seeing comments from other people like, at least you can get pregnant, and just a bunch of stuff that emotionally and mentally I wasn't capable of handling. And I know this because I had friends who were getting pregnant around me. And it was one of those things, and even like YouTubers who I saw getting pregnant, and never a time once, not even once, where it's like, oh, I hate her, or whatever, like all these negative things I'd see. I never once felt that way. It was more like I was so heartbroken in my own situation that I had to even step away from watching YouTube videos regarding infertility. And like, where I would normally follow along someone who's sharing their pregnancy journey online, like especially a friend or something, I had to stop doing all of that. I had to stop doing all of that because I just wasn't in a place where I could stay focused on all the different things that I was having to do. We're talking diet, we're talking labs, like because I'm chronically ill, there other steps weren't happening because my irons are too low, my vitamin D is too low, like my ANA, and like all the different background stuff that happens on top of infertility. Like, because there's, like I said, there's infertility, that's enough. Most people who are filming infertility, that's where their whole subject matter is. But Milady life in its entirety and in its reality is basically us living this full life, or a life that we want to live in spite of my health issues. And at the time, I wasn't living the life I wanted to live. We were making the steps, but we still weren't getting to this place where I was so desperate to be, which is a mom for the third time, pregnant, expecting, and it was just hard. It was so hard. The whole experience was hard. It got to a point where I stopped sharing with my husband, like, whether or not the test came up positive, not to surprise him, but because I started to like close in on myself, like all together I started closing in on myself. So it wasn't just that I stepped away from YouTube, but I also even started taking my struggles like outside of my marriage. Like, how's the best way to put this? My husband would know that I hadn't gotten pregnant a particular month because I'd go the whole month without saying I was pregnant, basically. Because I couldn't even handle letting him down with it. It was too much. And I started to realize how little sharing the difficulties of my life empowers me. And when I say that, please understand there's like no shade to anyone else. I don't even say I wish. I am thankful for being the person that I am, and I'm grateful to those people who are themselves, that where they're struggling with something and they can share it with others online, and they like it helps fuel their energies and gets them going. But through this process, I realized that is personally truly not me. All it did for me is just put me in even a darker place than I already was. And so stepping away from filming and stepping away from kind of tracking that journey helped a lot, actually. I would only open up the camera to like take photos and videos of my son, like when I was hanging out with friends. And I basically stayed like my personal video, and it stayed in the things that I want to remember. And it's actually something that's kind of helped us go through and figure out what we're doing with the channel from here. Because these are videos I watch. I look back on the videos that we filmed in 2019 and 2020, and I see a tiny little Corin running around, and I'm very, very thankful for those videos. I'm very thankful for the times that we're out celebrating things and I'm getting to watch that. I don't revisit the ones where it was hard. And when we are doing a channel about living a life with meaning and purpose and basically going after what we want realistically, and like showing that what that is like in reality, I mean, there's going to be hard times. That's true, but at the same time too, it's like a constant journey of putting one foot in front of the other. And at the time, for all these years, focusing on the parts that were hard and making content out of it just did not empower me. And honestly, I think it was the best decision for us, simply because now I look back on those years of struggling to get pregnant, and I would say I was more in the moment, and I think it might have helped just all together in focusing my energies on all the different things I would have to do so we can get to the point we are now with this next month ahead, where we're going to be sharing how all of that ended. I do know that there's a short right now for anyone who has been watching the channel, you know, in August of this year. I had a complete hysterectomy. For my birthday, my 42nd birthday, I basically started hemorrhaging in the big bad way. Emergency room, like, that is a whole nother story in and of itself. But I had a complete hysterectomy because it turns out my struggle with getting pregnant wasn't just PCOS. It wasn't just all the issues that I had from being chronically ill, dealing with a connective tissue disease. I'm currently diagnosed with undifferentiated connective tissue disease, but I also had severe, like when they removed my uterus and they did the pathology, I had severe endometriosis, just the whole lining. I'm very, very lucky that I didn't have cyst or endometriosis anywhere else. It was completely interior to the uterus, but it was causing massive health issues to the point of luckily wasn't one of those unfortunate souls who bleed out in 10 minutes, but basically, you know, if I had let 3 hours go by, I would have been unalived by my own body. So I had to wait from May to August just to get my irons up enough to have surgery. And again, these are things that you would think, like, hey, you know, you have a channel about chronic illness and difficulties. Why aren't, you know, you would think I'd be sharing that online. And other than tiny little clips of what I could share, which is, you know, that short of me, you know, saying that while everyone's announcing their 2025 pregnancies, I'm announcing my hysterectomy. And it's weird to fight for like a decade to get pregnant, only for it to be like breakneck speed of, okay, you're done now, and hysterectomy. It's all really bizarre, and it's, I guess, things I can expand on. But essentially, this is why I didn't film it for YouTube. The recording and sharing of this journey was not emotionally healthy for me, and that's really what it boils down to. Not sharing this journey was a good decision for us because I feel like it got my brain to the point and my concentration to the point where I was being a mom. And it's been a long 4 years. And in saying all that, this month ahead, I want to do what is genuine to me and to us. Because the whole time, and we have a whole other video dedicated to this subject of the purpose of us doing this and why, after all this time, coming back and making this the thing. That again, it's a wholly separate video, and it is going to be what our channel is about, and that is going after a life we love, living a life with meaning, living a life with purpose, maximizing what we do in a day, and really not just living life one foot in front of the other. I mean, that's how ultimately it's done. It's like just putting one foot in front of the other, but in doing so, and putting one foot in front of the other, and expanding upon that picture, basically living a life we love, a life that we've had to reimagine, and not getting rid of the things that we wanted, just finding new ways to get what we wanted in life, and feeling like I can genuinely and I guess open-heartedly and excitedly share that, where it's not emotionally like hazardous to me to share. And that's what we have coming up on the channel, and we hope you guys enjoy the rest of our content for the month of December. It's hopefully going to be heartwarming and happy. That's really truly where I would like my content to rest. So we hope you enjoy the vlogs. If you do, if you've enjoyed it, you've made it this far, please consider hitting the like button and subscribe button. So anyway, we want to thank you guys so much for watching. We hope you're having a beautiful morning, a wonderful evening, a blessed afternoon, whenever our vlog should find you. And please do come back and keep watching. Okay, bye.